And we're back again. Okay, I think we need to talk. I'm seeing a pattern here that maybe if you aren't a pilot, this might interest you. But if you're a pilot, you're scratching your head going, what are we talking about? Okay, we've done 12 so far. Been very disappointed. I think we've had one dangerous airport? No, I don't think so. A typical airport. A little bit short runway. Okay, we're coming up on number 11. Okay, here I am. Horrible at slaughtering names. Kasai International Airport in Japan. Okay. What makes this a dangerous airport? The airport is exposed to many hazards like earthquakes and cyclones. That's just has nothing to do with a dangerous airport. But those are not the only problems. It is said that in the next 4 to 5 decades, 40 to 50 years from now, global warming will make the seas rise and it might submerge the airport. Yeah. Does that really? 50 years from now, I'm going to be dead. I really don't think that would make the list. It's an airport. The one thing that's really cool about this airport, off the shore, it's actually a man-made island out in the middle of the ocean. It's built on an artificial island. Since the land is scarce and overpriced in the country, they just build an island out in the middle of the ocean next to Osaka and build an airport. But that makes it dangerous because in 50 years it might be underwater. I'm gonna classify this as OMG. Next, not a dangerous airport. It's a frickin' airport. Okay, next one. Wellington International Airport in New Zealand. Okay, it's located in the suburb of Rongotai. It's the capital city of New Zealand. The runways airport is only 6,300 feet. Here we go. It's just, I don't get this. Okay, the airport, 6,300 feet. Is that short for a Cessna? Not even. Major airline? Not really. Your smaller 737s, Airbus 319s, 320s, in and out of there, no problem. This is where it gets funny. And its pathway seems to start and end in the water bodies. So apparently there's water to one end of the runway and on the other end of the runway. The pilot needs to be precise in knowing at the landing and takeoff point to avoid the surrounding water bodies. Do I have to read that again? So the pilot has to be precise in knowing at the landing and takeoff point to avoid the water. Isn't that pretty much any takeoff or landing, whether it's water? Water is like the simplest thing. It's lower than the runway. Trees, buildings, mountains, them are a hell of a lot more dangerous. The pilot could really care less. It's a runway. You have your touchdown points you want to hit. Could care less if there's what's at the end of the runway. Doesn't matter. It's a runway. The pilot's going to take off. He's going to get to the far end of the runway, point it down, throttle up, take off. Could care less. Like I say, water is lowest point possible. So if he has to take off and miss a 1,000-foot tower, that's a hell lot more stressful than, oh, there's water you're going to fly over. Sorry, Wellington, you do not make number 10 most dangerous airport in the world. Whoever wrote this is a... All right, skipping 11, skipping 10. All right, let's boogie on up to number 9. And guess what? Yes, we are most definitely disappointed again. Okay, we're in Brazil. Sao Paulo in Brazil. The second busiest airport in Brazil. There's a lot of busy airports. It's just... However, what makes this airport dangerous is the slippery runway that has caused several accidents. So the runway's wet. We've landed on ice. We've landed in the rain. But, however, new runways with grooves to collect excess rainwaters are being built. So rainwater makes this airport dangerous. Do we have to say any more? Next, number 8. Horrible. This person really should be number 8. Okay, we're going to Thailand. Don Muegan International Airport. Oh, people. Okay, it's one of 2 international airports serving Bangkok. Previously known as Bangkok International Airport. Sit down, folks. This is going to be a very dangerous airport. This airport is situated between 2 golf courses, making it another dangerous airport. 2 golf courses on either side of the airport makes this a dangerous airport. Why? Are you going to get hit with a golf ball? I'm just kind of speechless. Okay. Water at either end of a runway and apparently golf courses on either side is just... wow. Okay. Number 8. Epic failure. Okay, everybody knows number 7. Are we going to go here? No. Princess Julian International Airport at St. Martin. Now, if you've Googled anything on strange takes off or landing, I'm sure you've seen this one. Okay. Large airplanes require a minimum of 8,000 feet of landing strip. Now let's start at the top. Princess Julian International Airport, I hope that's how you say it, I don't know. It's an airport in the Caribbean island of St. Martin. The airport is one of the most busiest airports as well. Before landing, a plane flies over the beach and some roads. That's horrible. Flying over a beach and some roads. It is fairly close. I mean, there's water, which we do know water is very dangerous at either end of the runway. So you fly over the water, which turns into a beach, which goes up a little bit. Then you have a road, then a fence, and then a runway. There's our dangerous part. This is where it gets confusing. A regular to a large-sized plane requires a minimum of 8,000 feet of landing strip, where this airport has only 7,000 feet, making it one of the most dangerous airports in the world. Okay, we're not going to touch on what plane requires what. Every pilot knows right down to the nitty-gritty on how much runway that plane needs to take off. Let's just use their numbers. A large size airplane needs 8,000 feet of runway. This one is 7,000 feet. It's not dangerous at all, because guess what? You're not going to land there. If it's 1,000 feet too short, it's 1,000 feet too short. It might as well be a 500-foot runway. You're not going to land there. If your plane needs 8,000 feet, guess what? It's going to be 8,000 feet or more. So, not a dangerous airport if they're... Oh, just stupid people in the world. But the funny part about this is 747s, A380s land here. So that tells me they can land here safely, because guess what? The pilot's not going to go, hey, I need 8,000 feet, but hell yeah, man, I'll land it on 7,000 feet. I can do it, no problem. So, what's funny about this airport is you'll see in the videos, I mean, Google it. Go to YouTube, St. Martin, Princess Julianne, whatever the hell, International Airport, and you'll see jets, and you'll see people lined up at the fence on the beach, and they're in the jet wash of these jets taking off, and it shows sand being blown all over you. And anybody that thinks standing behind a jet when it takes off is a great place to be, I'm not gonna stand there. God, you get impaled by something that gets blown off the ground and through your head. Alright, we're at number 6 now. K-Tak Airport in Hong Kong. Okay, it's been closed back in 1998. It's been replaced by Hong Kong International Airport. So, it is one of the scariest airports with perilous landings and takeoffs due to crisscross wind blowing constantly. The fact that the airport is surrounded by a hilly region makes it even scarier, and also a deserving spot in the list of the most dangerous airports in the world. Again, a pilot. I don't know what a crisscross wind's blowing. Does it blow one way at one end of the runway and changes direction at the other, or is it just a crosswind? Guess what? Pilots are trained for crosswind landings, and you have a chart. A plane can't... I mean, there's a specific procedure on how bad the winds can be for your plane to safely land. I won't get into it, but there's a 400-mile-an-hour wind coming right to left. Guess what? A plane's not gonna land. But if it's 400 miles, you might point it right into the wind and land like a helicopter. Hell, who knows? But and the hilly region, yeah, there's hills, there's water, golf courses apparently. Number 6, not a dangerous airport, but it's closed, so. Number 5, Agati Aerodrome, Langshapeweep, India. Okay, I know I totally, if you're over there and know this, sorry. Okay, it's in India. It's the southern end of the Agadi Island. Agadi Airport is the sole airport in the Lakship area, serving 36 local Indian tourist islands, of which Agadi Aerodrome is a strip. Okay, it's an island. We've landed on island. We've been to the Caribbean, islands everywhere, land strips everywhere. Apparently, this strip is 4,000 feet long. It's on an island. Agadi Aerodrome is a strip of land present in the blue waters. So it's an island. There's blue water surrounding it. It's 4,000 feet long. That's just under a mile. We just took off on a 900-foot runway. Did it just fine. But just because it's a landing strip on an island with blue water around it, 4,000 feet long, making it a risky area. Can I jump off the bridge yet? That's number 5. 5th dangerous airport in the world, folks. It's an island with water around it, 4,000 feet long. Okay, coming up to number 4. We're actually going to do this one. This one kind of interests me. Barra International Airport in Scotland. The Barra International Airport is situated in Scotland at the northernmost tip of the Barra Island at the Bay of, yep, not even going to try. With a short runway, okay, doesn't tell me how short, so maybe 6 miles. This uniquely, okay, we're uniquely now dangerous airport, also uses the beach as its runway and is undoubtedly the only airport in the world to do so. Okay, we kind of skidded off the road and crashed heavily now. This is the only airport that uses the beach for a runway. I'm gonna call BS on this one. But let's take a look at this. Let's flip. We were in the United States. We're gonna flip around here. We gotta find Scotland somewhere. There's Scotland. Okay, we're gonna kinda. Yep, it's. Oh my hell! It's an island with water around it. I'm already scared. It's gonna be devastating. My plane is not gonna want to do anything. Okay, it looks like we might just be on a beach. 2,600 feet, 2,200 feet, 2,700 feet, and it's sand. Is that dangerous? I don't think so. Is it unique? Yeah, kind of cool. Yeah. I kind of like people that land on beaches. Alaskan air pilots, people in the Caribbean. I even know people in Idaho that buzz up rivers and they actually land on sandbars. And bush pilots, my hell. I can't talk today, folks. Bush pilots do it all the time. So, yeah, it's a beach. We're gonna take off and land on a beach. We're just gonna do this for fun. Is it dangerous? No. Are we scared? No. Should it be on the list? No. So I've got a feeling. Call this epic failure on what people think is dangerous. Clear out the window. And this might be surprising to most of you that aren't pilots. Dangerous really can't be the word you use. Is it dangerous? But guess what? The pilot is a breathing human being.
TOS system test. Okay.
He has a family at home. He really isn't gonna do something that's gonna get him killed. I mean, yeah, there's some stuff pilots out there. There's some crazy stuff, but every time a pilot comes into a airport, quote quote, it's is it challenging? Yes. Does that make it dangerous? Maybe. But none of these airports, two golf courses, my brain is, I can't wrap around it. This actually shows my plane out in the water. I need floats. I actually have a float that fits this plane. I should just change planes, put floats on there. We are going to definitely be up in Alaska doing some water landings. Really have no idea. Wow. Why am I cruising? Is the wind blowing that hard? I just let off my brakes and I went, but I don't see any socks anywhere. I see a lot of beach. Oh, this is horrible. Look at this. Wee-ha. This is more... Okay, it's very uneven. I just like went through a ditch or the plane. Let's take a look outside. This is... Yeah, put me down into a ditch. That's the dangerous part. I don't see any wind. I see, oh, there it is. Yeah, we got a pretty good wind. I'm pointed right into it. I don't know why we got like waves right there and nothing here. So landing here is going to be a little tricky because we're going to have to come fly over and land towards the water. Is that dangerous? No, because I could care less. It's where I'm going to land. Is it the problem, not what's before or after the runway? Okay, this is going to be like no big deal. This is going to be somewhat uneventful, but wow, this is number 4. We skipped. Maybe we should go back and try taking off next to a golf course. Which, really, if you pay attention, there's golf courses probably next to every international airport there is. If you got a long layover, guess what? You can go golfing. Salt Lake International has a golf course right on it. I think I was reading my flag log. My brain went numb because of dangerous airports in the world that are airports. In the world we live in right now, I don't think anybody can do business. But guess what? We're going to get into some... Number 1 and number 2 are amazing. The chances of us actually pulling them off, I have my doubts. So there's our airport. I'm jittering for some reason. It could crash. I have done all these flights, one right after another, without restarting my computer, so now that I said that. it skips. This will be the last time I do this. If we actually make it, I'll shut down the computer and we will move on. But it's just the list of the dangerous airports in the world. They're not dangerous, they just have some unique. But guess what? The pilot's trained. He could care less if. Look, we have water. Oh, this makes it. Is it dangerous? Yeah, but if we go down, we're gonna go down. And whether we. I can land the plane in the water just as well as I can land it in the dirt. We'll float. I don't know. I guess. Okay, let's just find my airport. The winds are kind of strange. I'm showing an 18 knot tailwind. Did I read that flag wrong, guys? I mean, what looks scary about that? What's scary is I'm high.
$500.
500. I'm just going to kind of move right over here. And at the very last minute, I'm going to kind of move over here. Put the nose right into my wing. Oh, we survived another one, folks. Dangerous as can be. We landed on sand. Now, if it was like Sahara sand, where it's like, I'm sure you would have to pay attention on what the sand conditions were. Like right after a tide moves out, there's a lot of water. So the sand's like nice and hard. But if it's like powdered sand where when your tires hit it drops a foot, you'll crash the plane. Again, the pilot's gonna know the condition. If it's hard packed sand, it's gonna be just like a dirt. You land on dirt, you'll land on water, grass. Your pilot's trained to land on stuff. Is he gonna land on sand that's a foot deep that you'll sink in and crash? No. Common sense, folks. It's just all common sense. A pilot really doesn't want to crash his plane. And danger, just the thought of anything, this little plane taking off and flying 14,000 feet is dangerous. But it's dangerous if the wings come off. I don't know. I just don't live in that world, I guess. Everything. Driving down the freeway is probably more dangerous than anything we've done today. All right. There's number 4. Not dangerous, just kind of cool. We get to land on sand, which the conditions are perfect. That's why I landed here. If it wasn't, if the tide was high and this was covered with water, guess what? I wouldn't land here. I take the danger factor away. Common sense, common sense, common sense, which the world has 0. Well, thanks for flying along. Appreciate it. I'm sorry that this was kind of... I'm looking at number 3 now because this has just kind of intrigued me. It's an airport in Honduras. Toncontín International Airport. Civil and military. This dangerous airport was added to the History Channel's list of most dangerous airport in the show. Most extreme airports. Okay, now that's a different word. Most extreme. Can this fall into an extreme? Yes. Dangerous? Okay, the airport is situated in a mountainous region. The pilot has to make certain arrangements. Okay, I'm reading this code. The pilot has to make certain arrangements to avoid hitting mountains. I think I make arrangements not to hit a mountain every time I fly. Don't you? Is that normal? I just don't understand the human person anymore. The pilot, this is word for word. I'm not making this up. The pilot has to make certain arrangements to avoid hitting the mountains. That's normal procedure. The runway is also extremely short. Doesn't give me the... Okay. We're gonna add. We gotta see this. We might just nuke another one off our list. I know I'm rambling, but this is just... I want to pull my hair out. Because this will be the last one. I know number 1 and 2 are... Let's see if we can actually find... Okay, if you can pronounce that. That's what I was trying to pronounce. And we fly around in the world, and yes, it's in Honduras. And yes, it is an airport. OMG, the runway's 6,300 feet long. And in the middle of a city. There's a big city here. Oh, jeez. Again, the runway is also extremely short, 6,600. It's over a mile long. It's not an extremely short runway. 500 feet, extremely short runway. And that causes the plane to stop abruptly. My Cessna. See, it's now I don't know what size of plane. Like I say, I'm not going to get into it, but I guarantee you, an airline. This is they're talking about airlines. Guess what? They are going to know. Okay, it's 9 o'clock in the morning here. Okay, we got some hills. We got not even a knot of wind, so calm. Oh, do we even want to do this? Should we jump off the bridge now? And okay, I haven't restarted my computer, so this isn't going to be dangerous. An abrupt landing or abrupt stop. Guess what? Every jet, when it hits the runway, it wants to stop and reverse thruster. I mean, we've all flown commercially. When you hit the runway, yep, you're thrown forward because the pilot's on the brakes. He's got his If you've got reverse thrusters, yep, they're reversed because he wants to stop his plane. Um, if he needs 8,000 feet and the runway's only 6,600, yeah, guess what? He's going to go off the end of the runway. And what does that tell us? The plane won't land there. Ah, jeez. Now, is it an extreme? Probably. Let's get up in the air and see what the mountains look like for an airline. It's for a Cessna 172. Now this is going to be just a stupid airport. Okay, we're at 3,300 feet, so we will have to play with our mixture for the first time. We got to make sure we don't run over our buddy here because he's not smart enough to move out of the way. Winds are calm, so we have no wind. Looks like the runway kind of goes downhill. Hi, buddy. My cat just jumped up on me. Harley man loves to fly. Hi, buddy. Okay. All right, go away. I need to fly, buddy. Okay, let's do a run up. Let's make sure everything is lean and clean. Hi, buddy. So again, I'm just bringing my mixture back, watching my RPMs, making sure I have full RPM. And I do. So our air mixture is correct. Okay, I can see if you're in an airline, if you're gonna land, you got to come over the mountains. Is it dangerous? No. Got full flaps. Got procedures to land here. It might be uncomfortable for people that are afraid to fly. And the winds are calm. That sock is straight down and dead. So again, yeah, there's some mountains around here, but is anything dangerous? Nope, not a bit. Pretty easy. Runway is 6,600 feet long. Guess what? I could take off, probably land, and take off again. Oh yeah, we're at 3,300 feet. My plane isn't as badass as it is when it's on sea level, but it can take off. And there it is. Things happen a lot slower at 3,000 feet as they do. Okay, the terrain's kind of cool. I don't think it's going to be classified as dangerous. Because anything probably 2 statute miles around an airport, you could care less because by 2 miles, you climb. And the danger is if you have an engine failure, it doesn't matter. Mountains dangerous, water dangerous, buildings dangerous. I mean, is that mountain more dangerous than me crash landing into a city office building? Nope. Would you prefer a nice field to land in? Yeah, but so again, anything you do is dangerous. But so this could be an extreme, but I don't. You got an approach plate for an airline to hit this. I don't know if it has procedures. If it has procedures, I mean, it's pretty. It's not dangerous. Okay, there's our runway. Yep, we got mountains all the way around. Okay, we're gonna have some fun here. My plane ain't jittering, so it hasn't. We're just gonna let's use autopilot. Let's just all right. I haven't used autopilot all day, so nope. We're gonna use heading nav. Let's go up to let's climb. Let's let her climb. We'll just climb up to 10,000 feet. I don't know what our I'll just get this set. We'll climb out at 75 knots. It's weird to see these small numbers again. Alright. I'm winging this, guys. But I want to show you that this isn't they tricked me on this. They use extreme twice. Most extreme airport, and it's an extremely short runway. What'd I do? What'd I do? Let's get into procedures. Select approach. Okay, they don't have approach. Oh! Yes, they do. What's my airport? See, I'd have had this all set up, so I've got to really wing it now. MH. And still fly the plane. MHTG. What I'm doing is the airport we just took off from. I'm putting that into my flight plan here. Okay, so there's the airport. See, there's all kinds. Okay, we got our navs. We took off on runway 02, so we're going to do an RNAV. We're going to show you just how dangerous this is. I have no clue where. I don't have a plate up, so we're just going to choose that one. We are going to activate. And now I'm going to hit nav. And I'm going to choose my GPS. Okay, we are going to run. Let's see how bad I screwed this up. It might take a little longer than we want. Okay, while we're doing that, let me see. I don't think my program's gonna give me Honduras. Whoops, using the wrong computer again. And I have to apologize. What was my airport? MHTG. I really don't think I'm gonna get, but I can wing it. Yep, it doesn't give me nothing for. I probably could find a website that gives me all this. I mean, SkyVector's amazing for United States, but once you get out of the United States, it gives you the airport information, but that's about it. I don't have none of the RNAV plates or just simple. So, no help there. But we'll just go off with what my dash tells me. It says 9,000 feet. So, we are going to set for 9,000 feet. Now, this can get a little tricky for a small Cessna because we are climbing altitude and winds affect this small plane a lot more than it does a jet. I can actually take off behind a jet, and just the wake turbulence from the jet taking off can crash me. That's a real thing. When you take off right behind, the bigger the plane, the worse it is. 737, when they give you clearance to take off behind a jet of any size, they will warn you. Pay attention. And what that tells the pilot, you can either wait for a bit, let the wake turbulence dissipate, or when you take off, you have to pay attention of the plane taking off and put a mental note in your head on where that plane leaves the ground. That's where the wake turbulence begins. So what that tells you, you have to be airborne and move away from his flight path to fly away from his wake. Because the minute that plane takes off the ground, you got vortices coming off of your wings. It sucks in behind the plane. Unlike a boat where the waves go from the back of the boat out two directions, you got one on each side that goes out and it makes a huge V. Planes are different. The planes occupy space, the air rushes in behind the plane and it swirls. So if you are dumb enough to take off and get into that swirl can just flip your plane. And when you're landing, you can land behind a big jet, but you have to stay above his flight path. So wherever he touches down, you stay above his whole flight path into the runway, and you land farther down the runway than he is, because the wind falls towards the ground. So as he goes through the air, it's falling. As long as you're above and beyond, it's not going to hurt you. So if you take a look right here, this is what the pilot, so does this is now every airport that has an RNAV has the same thing. It tells you your waypoint, what altitude to be, and we're going to plug this in and we're just going to fly it. So we're going to see, just it's not a big deal. But every airport, I mean, you've seen me a dozen times use RNAVs into your airport. RNAVs are fantastic. It's GPS. I mean, you have height. I know exactly what path. If I'm on that line at that altitude, I am safe. There is nothing wrong with anything that I'm doing. So but if you fly commercially enough, there are some uncomfortable flights, guarantee it. But does it make it dangerous? No. Maybe there's a gray area. Has planes crashed? Yes. We've all been on flights that coming in or going taking off or actually at altitude where turbulence is just horrendous. Going into Denver, you have the Rocky Mountains to the west. Makes it very turbulent. There's actually been some planes crash because of wind shear coming in on approach. Oh, we need a faster plane. But we're just going to see. This is an airline will use this. We're doing it in a Cessna, so everything's nice and slow. But I could bring my jet, the longitude in here. It's a little bumpy, which we're going to be affected by the winds a lot more than any big jet. So if we can do this, do they have to turn a little sharper than usual? I don't know. I haven't flown into San Diego, and I guess that's a pretty good ride into San Diego. But so far, our little runway, I just went brain dead on the name of it that we were diving down into the runway. I'm not going to classify that as dangerous. I'm going to classify that as a challenge. But there are procedures set up for that actual. I don't know what the procedures are. I make it up as I go, but I've crashed there once. St. Bart's. Sorry. I'm multitasking here. But I landed so many times they're just fine, so the procedure that I came up with was fine until it wasn't. I've thought about it. I'm going to change my procedure. I'm going to come in higher, faster. I always knew being that close to stall speeds is a problem. It always is when you're landing. Altitude and speed keeps a plane going. So I'm going to come in higher, faster, and deal with my speed. I never ran out of runway. So that tells me I can come in there faster, which means I can come in higher, dive in, which will give me more speed. Okay, gonna do our left turn. But if I were to fly in there real, I would have a conversation with a real pilot. And commercially, I would be doing it with a trained pilot. Now, a private pilot's different. You better do your homework. To figure out how to land there safely. Because it is a challenge. It's not dangerous. It's only dangerous if you don't know what the hell you're doing and you crash. But that's all involved in the talent of the pilot. There are some pilots just getting in a plane with them is dangerous just because of the human factor, because they don't know what the hell they're doing. Okay, we are set up on our approach. Let's see what happens if I... Okay, my next waypoint, I need to be at 8,000 feet. So we're going to drop 1,000 feet. If I get my buttons right here, we're going to do a nice... I will do 400 feet a minute descent, which is absolutely nothing. You can see my little V points or arrows. I'm not established on a glide slope yet. You can see over here, I want to be at 8,000 feet there, so my little half moon, so I'll just drop it to 600 feet. And that brings my half moon pretty damn close. I'm over revving my motor. Let's come back a little bit. Okay, we're at my magic 700 feet per minute. Everything's nice and comfortable. You do not want to be below. If it tells you 8,000 feet, that means 8,000 feet or above. Do not go below. We can always lose altitude at the last minute, but they have their safety. I mean, 8,000 feet, you're not going to hit the ground, but you can see out the window, we have a mountain in front of us, so if we screw up and leave the course, we may hit that mountain, but if we stay on course, now we're turning 8,000 feet. See, now our next one's 7,000 feet, so it's just bringing us down nice and easy. We're going to continue our 700 feet. And I'm still wide open, so we're not even. I've throttled back just a little bit so we're not redlining. I'm going to say, if you look on my right screen here, right here is probably where people go, wow. Because put it in retrospect, if we're in a jet, I'm doing 121 right now, but in a jet I'd be doing 220, so maybe 100 knots faster than what I'm flying right now, which when you make this turn might seem a little extreme, but I'm going to be wide open pretty close all the way down to the runway, just to whenever this flashes red, I just pull back on my throttle a little bit to, when it gets above 27, it starts to over. And as the lower I get, there's more air. But I am coming down nicely. Coming up on our next turn. So it's just going to take you right down this little valley into the other valley. Okay, now our next one is 677.6, so 6,776 feet. So it doesn't want us to drop very far. So I'm going to drop down to 6,800 feet. And again, the pilots do this all the time, pretty much, in every airport they come into. This is just normal procedure for a pilot. He's only worried about these mountains. Okay, there's our glide slope. Approach is clicked in. Okay, the plane's taken over. It's doing its thing. I'm on approach. If you're in a jet, it's doing the same thing. All I gotta do is set my speed so I don't go into the yellow. So I'm gonna pull back just a little bit. Gonna keep her going just as fast as I can. Okay, we're kind of dropping down into the canyon. Is that a big deal? Nope. Because what am I gonna do? I'm gonna go right down here. There's my turn. You see it right on the screen. There's our runway. And this line that continues off is our go around procedure. So if anything's not right, we go around. Just the same thing we do. All of this just goes away. Am I concerned? No. Am I aware? Yeah. I'm aware of winds, but I got a 2-knot wind coming here, so wind's not a factor. Now if I had a 40-knot wind coming over this mountain in this little plane, yes, I'm aware. But is it, I could care less. I really don't even care less about them mountains right now. We fly right down the valley. Our altitudes are fine. Nothing is abnormal right now. This is just flying into a runway that's 6,600 feet long that the pilot knows his plane can land there. Now, if he screws up the landing and comes in too hot and floats halfway down the runway, but that's not the airport's fault. And yes, every one of us has botched a landing. You just abort the landing, do a go around, and do it again. Then the question is, how many times do you try to land before you decide, okay, I'm not talented enough to land here, so I'm done. Okay, we're coming up to our nice tight turn, so this is probably where people are gonna go. Okay, this is extreme because okay, I'm going as fast as this plane. I can go into the yellow, but I'm not. The ground's coming up to my nose. Are we gonna crash and die? I hope not. Guess what? Look, just like we're supposed to. Don't see? That's an extreme turn. It's kind of cool. Is this gonna work out? I don't know. No, if this is a big jet, that'd be funny. Cause look, there's our airport. We're above our glide slope, tipping the mountains, and I'm still wide open. Imagine that. I'm not even configured to land. So what am I gonna do? I'm gonna take off my autopilot, and I'm just gonna pull up, level off. No flaps. Power's completely idling. And I'm just gonna hold it. And I'm just gonna hold it. See how dangerous that was? No flap landing. Wasn't configured to land at all. But see, if you're in a jet, you're going to have your flaps down, you're going to have your landing gear down, and you're just going to plant it on the runway, reverse thruster. It's just that little tight turn at the very end. Is it dangerous? Nope. Can things go wrong? Yeah, things can go wrong any day of the week. But that's just kind of fun. And as a pilot, you train for all kinds of different things. Like, do I know I can land a plane without flaps? Yep. So if I have a flap failure, I just proved to you can land a plane. Now, if I didn't have flaps, I'd have been a lot slower, but I was wide open to look at other planes coming in. Let's sit here and watch him. But it's just normal procedures. Procedures aren't dangerous if you don't do it right. Pilots are trained. They don't want to die as much as you do. So if I was doing it correctly, yes, I'd have been slow. I can configure this to land just like I always do. Slow down, flaps come in nice and easy, but I wanted to show you that you can come in here extremely fast, and land perfectly safe. I don't know if he's landing or not. Might be. Should be on approach. And so how I landed isn't dangerous. It's out of procedure, but it's not dangerous. I knew my runway length. I knew the capabilities of my plane, and it was just fine. You just noticed I got down to the runway. I didn't touch the runway. I just held it off the runway as long as possible, which put my speed off, and when my speed was correct, and I used up every ounce of the runway. I was planning that. I was just staring at this plane, but I don't know what it's doing. But that's not a dangerous airport. I mean, you have a heavy bank, so it's kind of interesting. So that's number 3. All right, man. If we get into 1 and 2, I'm even nervous about flying these. But we'll call it a day. Appreciate you riding along. I hope you enjoyed my ranting on just golf courses and water and mountains don't concern the pilot, or concern the pilot. Yeah, I don't need to repeat. So enjoy your day. Thanks for flying along. We will see you on the next 2 are going to be scary. Guarantee it. Have a great day. Bye.